The theme for this year's World Children's Day 2025 is My Day, My Right, which seeks to amplify the voices of children by creating a platform where they can freely express their views, share their experiences, and advocate for their rights. Today is not just another day on the calendar, it is a day that belongs to children everywhere. A day to listen, to learn, and most importantly, to amplify the voices of the youngest members of our society. The theme, My Day, My Rights, is a bold reminder that every child has the right to be heard, to be protected, and to thrive in an environment that nurtures their dreams and respects their dignity. Children's rights are not privileges, they are fundamental. The right to education, to healthcare, to family love and protection, to a clean and safe environment, and to freedom from violence, neglect, and discrimination. These are also not negotiable. They are essential building blocks for a just and inclusive society. Despite global commitments, millions of children, however, still face, barriers to poverty, conflict, displacement, child labor, and a lack of access to basic needs. These challenges silence their voices and limit their potential. That is why today's conversation is very, very important. This show is all about you, our children out there, your stories, your ideas, and your experiences. We've created this space so you can speak freely, reflect deeply, and share what matters the most to you. Because when children are empowered to speak, the world becomes a better place for all of us. You're welcome, I'm Viola Sasia, and today on this 2025 World Children's Day, we are having a conversation here where we let the children speak out freely and let us know how they feel, what they've experienced, their ideas for the future, and how much they can contribute to society as a whole. Once again, you're welcome, and in studio already we have the panel of these young people, as well as one adult that will also give us her perspective, having worked with children. So I'll give all of you a chance to introduce yourselves, and I'll be starting from my immediate left. So let's start with you, Meki. Give us your introduction.
My name is Omiapros Miki. I am from Amur district, and my school is Agole Primary School.
You're welcome, Meki. So let's talk to you, Angela.
Hi, my name is Biaranga Angela Melisha from Chikube district, Maratatu Primary School.
You're welcome, Angela. So we shall be talking to you, Marita.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Marita Mugasha. I work with Save the Children as the Advocacy Campaigns and Communications Coordinator.
All right, so let's start with you, Marita. Once again, you're all welcome. So the first question will go to you, Marita. Tell us about Save the Children and why it's important to recognize the Universal Children's Day.
Thank you very much, Viola. Briefly about Save the Children. Save the Children has been in Uganda since 1959 and globally since 1919, which makes it the oldest, which makes it the world's leading children's rights organization globally. And in Uganda, we have 5 thematic areas, or we focus around 5 areas to promote the rights of children. One of them being education. We first of all operate nationally. We have a national coverage in the country, and with that we support children's rights to education. We foster literacy, numeracy, and we also promote or advocate for the rights of children with disabilities across our different areas of operation. Secondly is child rights governance, which is one of the pillars under which we are here today with our dear children. Under that particular pillar, child rights governance, we make sure that we partner with the state, communities, and children themselves to make sure that they speak up for themselves and are able to advance or be agents of their own rights. Thirdly is child protection. As you know, there is a lot of violations and abuses against children, not only in Uganda, but globally as a result of conflict and climate shocks and so on. So under our child protection pillar, we still work with government and different structures in the communities to make sure that children are protected, their rights are protected, including those who are coming from conflict-affected areas, especially countries around Uganda. Yeah, so we make sure that we foster their protection to make sure that they are really protected and their rights are advanced and promoted. And then fifth is we also operate in humanitarian settings where, as we know, as of 2025, Uganda hosts close to over 1.9 million refugees, and over 1 million of them, of the 1.9, it's actually children that are unaccompanied and others are accompanied. So we work in the humanitarian settings to make sure that we deliver life-saving assistance to children, their families, in the humanitarian settings to make sure that the children's rights and their families are really protected. We deliver life-saving amenities to make sure, NFIs, non-food items and so on, to make sure that ultimately the children and their families where they are now in Uganda are actually safe. So that is just a very brief about what Save the Children does in Uganda. And then very briefly about why the World Children's Day is important and why we are here today, and really against that backdrop of the work that we do, is that many children or millions of children to date still cannot access their basic human rights. Just to give a bit of history, and why 20th November really, to have it as World Children's Day. On 20th November 1989, the United Nations General Assembly, this is when they passed the Declaration on the Rights of the Child, or you can call it the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And that convention basically stipulates a whole host of human rights or a whole host of rights that children must enjoy in just because they are children. And maybe just to state that children's rights are human rights. So for every right that an adult above 18 has, children also have. So that day, 20th November 1989, really brought together world leaders from under the United Nations General Assembly, where they were able to put their signatures and say, let us stop violating children's rights. And because it's governments that sit at the General Assembly, governments also agreed not to violate children's rights. And the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is one of the, it's actually, I think it's the only convention globally that is largely ratified by all states in the world, apart from one. Yes, so it's the most widely ratified treaty, so that means all states globally agree to upholding and promoting the rights of children. So that's why we have 20th November set aside to amplify the rights of children and really draw the world's attention to the need to promote and protect children's rights.
Thank you so much, Marita, for letting us know why we should actually observe the Universal Children's Day. I'll be talking to the children a little bit later, but first I wanted to ask you, for children that are not in dire situations like being refugees and really having nowhere to live, why is it so important for children in regular families especially to know their rights individually, minus the caretaker?
Yeah, it's very important because when you know your rights, you can actually advance them yourself or make sure that they are not violated. It's very important for children to know their rights. That way they know that this is what they're entitled to. But of course, in our day-to-day work and in our dealing with children, working with children, we also stress the importance of responsibility. For every right, there is a responsibility. So while we have a whole host of rights, let me say right to education, health, access to protection, services, and so on, children also have a responsibility to make sure that there are certain things they have to do to make sure that they actually enjoy these rights. I'll give an example of the right to education. So globally, regionally, and even in our national human rights and even constitution, it provides for the right to education. What that means is that every child should be able to access school. And indeed, that's why the government of Uganda has put in place premises or policies and structures like universal primary education, universal secondary education, and other advanced levels of education to make sure that ultimately children access education. So the responsibility in that for children is for them to actually go to school, go to school and stay in school. So it's very, very important. It's one thing for your parent to send you to school or for the government to put in place all those wonderful policies and structures. And it's also another for the child to go there and stay in school. So that's what I mean by for every right there's a responsibility. So yes, that's why it's very important for children to know their rights, because ultimately they know their responsibilities in fulfilling that right on their end as well.
Thank you so much, Marita, and that you used education is quite fitting, because I'll be asking Mickey his experience at school. So Mickey, you have a right to education, and thankfully you've been able to be afforded that. So what is your experience at school? What do you like most about school? And yeah, generally tell us a story about how everything has been so far.
For me, in my school, the thing or the activity which I like to do most is I like to play football.
Wow.
And then volleyball also. And then in our school, everything was going on well, and it is still going on well also. Yes.
Okay, I'll get back to you, Mickey. So Angela, what do you like to do most at your school, and how is your experience there? Please tell us a brief story about your experience.
In our school, for me, I'm a good netball and a good MDD attendant.
Okay.
That's what I like in my school.
Okay. Is there any other reason why you keep showing up? Because I see some children do not actually go to school. They disappear along the way.
For me, I like studying because I want to be a very important person in the future.
Ah, amazing. Yes. I like it. That's really nice. So Mickey, in your school, have you ever had a case where your rights as a child were violated, and could you tell us what happened?
So, in our school and in the community also, children's rights are violated in so many ways. And for example, in the community where I live, some parents usually violate children's right to education. You find that the parents is sending children who are well to school, leaving those one with disability at home.
Okay.
They are saying that these children, even if they study, what will they bring good at home? So they usually violate children's right to education by leaving children with disability at home, not taking them to school. And then another one, some parents in the community, usually, especially these stepmothers, they violate children's right to eat. You find that if they have cooked meat today, by the time they are supposed to eat that meat, you find them sending the child to go and fetch water in the borehole or the well. By the time the child comes back, he or she will find the food is already not there. So they are violating children's right to food, and that is some of the things, or the ways how children's rights are violated in the school and then in the community.
Have you had your own personal experience?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Like in some days when I went to the village, I found there was a certain parents who is having the kind of the child with disability. The child cannot walk well, so the child is moved on wheelchair. So you find that the parents sent the child. The child is a boy. So the parents send the girl who can walk well, can write well, to the school, and that child who cannot walk is walking on wheelchair. The parents did not take her to the school. The child is just staying home there without even friends.
Okay, thank you so much, Mickey, for telling us about your experience. Angela, have you experienced any case of children's rights being denied either to you or your friends?
I've experienced to my friends. Just because it was like last term in like one of the schools, because I have many friends whom I coordinate with. The girl was going to school. She met like a gang of boys and told her. The girl was like, but these people, what do they want on me? Then the girl said, you people, what's wrong with you? Why do you always disturb me? I'm going at school, you are telling me those things of love situations. For me, I want to start. And the boys told her, no, you are old. Just come and we'll marry you. For us, we can take care of you. Even if you be pregnant, you produce a child and that will be your heir the next future. And the girl said no. But since the girl accepted, she's married and her right to education was denied. And the girl is just there suffering a lot in the village.
Okay. And Angela, what about punishment? Have you seen a case of harsh punishment?
Yes, I've seen. Just because was like my aunt, she had a stepchild. The child could do every work, but my aunt could say she had 3 children. Even that stepchild of her was there. And that child could do every work. She could not go to school. She could just stay home doing every domestic chore. And the girl was like, but why? Why do I be here? Every time, if the others could do the mistake, they could cane the girl. And they could cane her seriously, and they could sometimes burn her.
Oh, wow. So terrible. Sorry that you had to experience that. But where do you normally go, you and your friends, when you feel like your rights are being encroached on or violated?
Like when we are in the community, we may go to the trusted adults.
Who are those?
The trusted adults, we have like the role model, men and women, the community leaders and religious leaders.
Oh. Wow. Marita, do you have something to say about that?
Yes, I just to take us back and just to reflect on what both children have shared this morning on that issue is that's the reason Save the Children and other partners really come together to work with government and even the children themselves to make sure that such violations and so many more really do not continue to happen. Or in instances, for instance, she talked about violation of girls' rights when they're going to school, giving an example where girls are walking to school and they are intercepted or stopped by boys or even older men. This is where some of the structures that Save the Children is working with government in the communities to make sure that children's rights are protected where children may not, or even where the offices may not be necessarily. So for instance, on issues of violations against both boys and girls, protection-wise, we work with first of all with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, and that ministry obviously has structures at the district level, and we are also trying to promote the streamlining of social welfare officers in those communities. What social welfare officers do in those communities is that they are the people closest to the ground or closest to the children, closest to the families, that make sure that if, let's say, a Save the Children or government office is not located in the closest proximity, let me say, of where the child is at that particular moment, there is a social welfare officer, there is a parasocial officer or worker that could be male or female, that Save the Children could quickly call, or any other partner really championing the rights of children can quickly call or is attached to make sure that when children face such violations in communities, after we have created awareness, obviously with partners, on where to report those incidences, those social welfare officers make sure that they support the children. Let's say the cases she has mentioned about violation of girls' rights. The girls are able to quickly report to that parasocial worker. They are able to quickly report to that case worker. They are quickly able to report to that social welfare officer, who can route the information or the report to the relevant duty bearer. So in that case, the duty bearer could be police, it could be other partners, including Save the Children. And in most of these communities where these violations happen, we work with a string of partners to make sure that the children's rights are protected. So we are trying to empower the children to know where they report in every community where they work, so that these violations are stopped or reduced. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marita. Marita Mugasha works with Save the Children. We also have the children in studio here, who are actually just a representative of so many children out there. We have Mickey right next to my side is from Agole Primary School in Amuru District. We also have Angela. She shared her experiences at school. She's from Maratatu Primary School, Chikube District, and we are having a discussion today in observation of the World Children's Day 2025 under the theme, My Day, My Right. I am Viola Sasria. We are going for a break. When we return, we shall be continuing with this discussion, so make sure that you let your child know their rights, especially by watching programs like this. So we shall be back shortly. There was a question that you were posing to me that I never heard properly earlier. Diana. Okay. Are you guys feeling all right? Okay. Okay. Stand by. Welcome back from the break, and thanks so much for staying with us. I am Viola Sasria, and today we are having a discussion in respect of the World Children's Day 2025 under the theme, My Day, My Right, and we're trying to understand how best we can serve our children in regards to their rights and how better they can exist in society alongside adults. And we have people in studio here. That's the panel that I'm speaking with today. And we have right next to me, my immediate left, that is Rot Omia Pros Mickey. He's from Agole Primary School, Amuru District. Next to him is Angela Melisha Biarhanga. She's from Maratatu Primary School, Chikube District. And lastly, we have Marita Mugasha, who is from Save the Children, doing a wonderful job. And so I'll be starting off again with you, Marita, about a case that you've had, a successful case of where a child was harassed or their rights were messed with, and you had the culprits apprehended, and could you please give us such a story if you have one?
Thank you, Viola. I'll speak to one of the success stories on the right to survival, and then because children from the very beginning, we were all children at one point, really. We are children, then adults, and to me, personally, the most important right is the right to survival. So I'm just going to share an example of a success story that we have recently managed or supported on the right to survival for children. Yes, so I earlier mentioned that we work in humanitarian settings where sometimes children come into Uganda from crisis-affected areas, either unaccompanied because their parents, either they've lost their parents or they, for one reason or the other, they end up in Uganda unaccompanied, and others are accompanied. So I'll just give an example of one where a baby was unaccompanied. Yes, so most recently in one of the districts in Western Uganda, which receive refugees, asylum seekers from the neighboring countries. A baby less than 6 months was found lying around alone into the country as a war was, raging on in a neighboring country. So one of the people that were crossing into the country actually could recognize this baby, and they just picked up the baby and went through the registration processes at the border, and then finally accessed Uganda. And they just, after their registration and everything, they just didn't know how to proceed with this baby. So because in the refugee and transition centers, we have officers there from, Save the Children and other partners, including government, OPM, and so on. And posters, most importantly, that show the work that we do. The lady, who is probably 50 years old, was able to see our poster and quickly run to a Save the Children staff wearing a Save the Children visibility jacket, and mentioned to her that it's still based on the work of social welfare officers that I talked about earlier. Approached someone wearing a Save the Children visibility jacket and said, I'm into the country now with this baby. I don't know what to do with them. Do I hand them over to you because you Save the Children? Do I hand them over to you? And and the child was malnourished, in a terrible state. I think they had lost their parents a while ago during the conflict. Yes, so they said, should we hand the baby over to you because you Save the Children and you manage the baby? So we worked with her and our staff in that location, and also the different health facilities there. So we gave the lady support to support the baby. With that, of course, the first immediate thing was to take the child to a nearby health facility for a complete assessment for qualified medical practitioners to know what the child is suffering from and how we can manage moving forward. Of course, after going through police and all that, the next step is health. After a clear diagnosis by the medical facility, we were told exactly how to manage the baby. It was an acute case of malnutrition, and the baby just needed to be fed properly, and of course with some treatment, and they would recover. So we quickly supported the lady with the hospital, everything, bills, meals, and of course they didn't have where to stay, a decent shelter. we built them a decent shelter where they could stay with that baby. Because after the hospital or health facility, you need to be accommodated in a safe place. Omiro mentioned that sometimes the children are put in very bad shelters, which makes them sick and all. So we constructed that shelter or home for them, where they could stay with the baby, supplied the meals, supplied the supplements, and also made sure that we follow them to the health facility whenever they needed to, and to make sure that they follow their hospital appointments to make sure that the baby stays the course and develops naturally and well. Yes, so we, after an extended period of time, consistent visits to the health facility, making sure that they are keeping up, supplying them with the relevant nutritious food to make sure that they eat well, and also giving them that shelter. The child, the baby, is actually, you wouldn't believe it, is very healthy and is a big boy now. They are 1 year old now. Okay. So they look very healthy. The lady is also very happy, and we actually have that documented and we could share. But yes, that is just one of the success stories around health and how we have managed children's protection in the most affected areas in our country.
Thank you so much for that story and for the work that you're doing together with your colleagues. Well, I'd asked the children earlier about where they go to report whenever they have such challenges. So I will now pose it to you. What are some of those things the children need to do when they feel like they're being violated? And are there places they can go to? Are there specific calls they can make? So please comment on that quickly before you also answer how adults can help children enjoy their rights every day.
Yeah. To the first one, we have created awareness among children themselves. So I mentioned that we operate, we have a nationwide coverage across the country, and of course with concentrated focus in areas that have a lot of violations happening. So in those areas, we have created awareness in form of campaigns. So we have run campaigns against early marriages. We have run campaigns against drug abuse, teenage pregnancies. We've run campaigns calling upon parents, guardians, and caretakers to take their children back to school. So with all these campaigns, we actually work with children. We campaign with children. We don't pull them out of school and give them placards to campaign, but we actually, for instance, sit down with them for them to design messages that they would feel easily resonate with their fellow children, as opposed to us sitting wherever we are sitting and coming up with the messages and then passing them on to the adults. So we campaign with children to design those communication messages that they feel will resonate with their audiences, with their fellow children, and in what language they feel their fellow children will be able to understand. So is it English? Is it a local language? We work with them to design those messages, to campaign with them, and then eventually pass on these messages either through the children themselves in their different clubs in schools, because different clubs have different clubs, like children rights clubs, girls as drivers of change, different debate clubs, different clubs really in their schools. So we pass on these messages that they have developed with us through the children, through the teachers, through the head teachers, through the radio stations, to create awareness on children's rights and also the need to stop the violations against children's rights and where they should report. So that children also themselves tell us what the safe places are or who the safe people are that they can report to. So in terms of responsibility, of course, they report to, for those who have access, they can report to police. And then for those who may not have that access, they can report to their head teachers, school teachers, senior women teachers, senior male teachers, guidance and counseling, teachers, and so on. We also, I mentioned, we have other structures, protection structures like social welfare officers. So we also work with partners like Sauti 116, and like so many child protection partners that we work with, including government. So we give this list of places and people and officers where the children can report these violations with the different means that they have in their different communities. Please come again on the second question.
Okay, so I'll be getting back to you with another question again on the role of adults, but children, I have questions for you now. So I'll start with you, Angela. How would you want to be supported in order to enjoy your rights every day?
For me, I would like to be supported, like if it is the provision of enough scholastic materials, because some children don't come to school because they lack scholastic materials. Then I'd like if they're making, like the way Marita said, campaigns, they should make campaigns in the areas affected. Like there is a high rate of teenage pregnancy. They should create awareness about the dangers of teenage pregnancy.
Okay. And being a child, being a girl child, actually, and you've had a lot of campaigns trying to protect the girl child. What's your experience, and what more can we do as adults in the society to be able to protect the girls in school?
According to me, the adults can promote girl child education.
Girl child education.
Yes.
What do you mean? What would that look like for you?
It is like promoting gender equality. If boys are going to school, let even girls go to school. Not like saying, hey boys, let boys go to school and girls remain home doing work.
What about your comfortability in class? Have you had cases where, in the classroom, have you had cases where boys are disturbing you, or on your way home, or these adult men? What would you say about such cases?
I think they should arrest all those people, like on the way you're coming back from school, they are telling you bad words. I think they should be reported and be arrested.
So do you generally, do you feel safe in your school experience as a girl?
Sometimes, just because our school does not have a fence. Not like those people are trespassing, anything bad may happen.
Okay, thank you, Angela, for your contribution. And so, Mickey, you're a boy child now, and you've had Angela's comments. So what would you say about the relationship between the boy child and the girl child, her comments about equality, as well as how sometimes the boy child treats the girl child, from your experience?
First, repeat the question.
Okay, so you're a boy child, and you've had Angela's comments. What has been your experience, you watching the girl child go through school, but also what role can be done by the boy child to support the girl child? And you as the boy child, what are your experiences, and where can we help you?
From me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So, me as a boy child, I know, as this sister of mine said, in some community, parents usually send boys to school, leaving girls at home. And for us as the boys child, what we can do to support the girls child, if you have any voice at home, or you can talk to the parents, if you see such thing happening in the environment or in the community, for us as the boy child, we can even advise those parents who are making the boys to go to school, leaving the girls at home. And what they can do to support us in studies as the boys, they should provide enough scholastic material, as this sister of mine said. they should also feed us well and also maintain our health by taking us to the hospital, especially when we are sick. So that is my response to that question you have asked.
Okay. And how important is feeding to you when you mention feeding as a right to a child?
As we all know, if anybody is hungry, even studying will not be easy, because your stomach will not be okay, and if your stomach is not okay, even your mind will be out of class, and you will not study well if you are hungry. So if they have fed you well, you will even be active in class, and you will listen and understand what the teacher is teaching well.
Angela, do you agree? And are you fed well at your school?
Yes.
You are?
We are fed well at school.
Oh, so what are some of your meals that you enjoy at school?
We have there is posho, beans. Sometimes on weekend we change because we have a school garden, like vegetables. Sometimes they change like cassava and sweet potatoes.
Okay. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you for that. So, Marita, we'll ask you the role of adults, including Save the Children, in helping these children and several others who are watching in enjoying their rights.
The role of Save the Children and adults is really promotional. So, I'll first speak on Save the Children's role, is to really make sure that we promote the rights of children. We have been speaking rights for a whole lot, and if I could just break them down for our viewers who may just have a smaller understanding. On top of the usual rights that we all know, children have the right to non-discrimination, the right to education, the right to play, obviously the right to life and survival. They have the right to protection from all harm. Children from crisis areas have the right to cross to a neighboring country, and that government where they cross to has the responsibility to make sure that they are protected, they are safe, etc. Freedom of movement, speech, participation, and so on. The list is endless. So our responsibility as Save the Children and adults is to make sure that we first of all have the understanding of these rights and what they entail. So each of these rights, UN General Comments have detailed ways of how each of these rights should actually be realized. So it's our responsibility as adults to interest ourselves in knowing and understanding these rights. And for those who may have access to the UN General Comments, is to understand what does it actually take to, for instance, fulfill or promote or protect the right to education. So once we understand the different ingredients to realizing these rights, we are then able to promote them or ensure that they are enjoyed by the children. As we may all know, there is a knowledge gap, not only, especially actually on the rights of children. Most people, or most adults, do not give children the right to express themselves. They do not give children a platform to freely participate on issues affecting them or on issues that matter to their lives.
So I gather we need to give children a space to speak up, a platform to speak up, and to take their views seriously, as well as to create a safe, generally safe environment for their existence. So these children, we are finishing up our time. The next program will be coming in. So Mickey, what message do you have for other children around the world that are watching you right now?
So for me, the message that I have to every children who are watching me now is that you respect your parents, do what they want you to do, and also don't mix your rights and then the responsibility, because we know it well that children have their rights and also the responsibilities. So in some community, children, you find that if a child is playing football and the parents say, hey, okay, you first go and fetch for me water, and the child will say, it is my right to play, and the child will refuse and continue playing. So you need to do your responsibilities as well as you follow your rights. So if you do those responsibilities, it will convince the parents to provide for you enough basic needs. So I don't have much to say. That one is what I can say to all the children who are watching me now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Angela. Very quickly, in about half a minute, what are some of the messages that you have for the children watching now?
The message which I can send to the children watching me right now, I can tell them, in case of any abuse around you, just report. Be confident and report. Even I'll encourage children to stay in school, because education is the key to success.
Thank you so much, children. Your views are very, very wise for your age. And Marita, in half a minute too, so tell, I'm especially interested in the helpline. Where can we report such harassment of the children? And a few words to finalize this.
Where to report children's violations, it's Sauti 116, that's a toll-free line, or they can always access police or any other protection agencies and partners, including Save the Children. A parting shot to the children, I feel like they have closed it. For every right, there's a responsibility. That was from Rod, and then Angela also said, let us report these violations when they happen. So let the children not keep quiet or feel timid. Let them know that they are trusted adults in communities where they can report the violations and have their rights promoted and respected.
Thank you so much, Marita. And that will bring us to the end of our talk show, our conversation today, as we commemorate the World Children's Day 2025 under the theme, My Day, My Right. My name is Viola Sasira. You've heard from the children, you've heard from Marita from Save the Children, and I really hope that you can amplify these voices and make sure that our children are protected at all costs. Thank you so much for watching, and we shall catch you next time. Enjoy the rest of the day.